The most anticipated and controversial literary work of the new age is finally here. Three Steps to End Racism Right Now by Palmetto Star is a powerful piece that brings incredibly accurate, solid solutions with unorthodox answers to the ever problematic issue of race. Download it for free now before this book gets banned, and email 3steps to end racism at gmail.com to get your own hard copy before it's too late.
I remember the first time I watched The Matrix, and I was absolutely blown away. It revealed a lot of things that I thought I knew, I had an inkling of, I just couldn't put into sort of visual or words, and this movie did that for me. This movie literally changed my life and also changed the culture. It brought a lot of people into consciousness at that time. I saw it. I graduated high school the year prior, and I actually watched the movie with one of my best friends, R.I.P., rest in peace, Yurick Jackson. Me and him watched that movie numerous times at the theater. I think we snuck into the movie theater. Don't hold that against me. But we did, and we saw the movie, we just had conversations about that because me and him were both writers. And so we had just extensive conversations about that and wrote poetry about that, and a lot of things, after we saw that movie, But tonight, we have the mother of the Matrix, copyright owner, writer, and creator of the Matrix itself. It is with great honor that I have Sophia Stewart on the line with us. Sophia, are you with me?
Yes, I'm right here. Thank you for having me, you guys, tonight. I really appreciate that very much.
Oh, yes. Today is 11/11, and I know that is a significant time for you. And also, just the numbers, it is a significant time for me as well. That whole number is very significant, the 11/11 gateway. So, when I first asked you, I purposely had you at that time because I was like, well, if anybody's going to usher us into this new consciousness, this new way of thinking, it has to be the creator of the Matrix, Sophia Stewart. So, yeah, I definitely, that was on purpose. That was intentional. But I love what you're doing. I love your work. Well, you're welcome. I love your work. I've been reading. I'm not quite finished with the new book, Matrix 4, but I am close, and it is a great work. You guys go ahead, go to thetruthaboutmatrix.com and truthaboutmatrix.com and go ahead and get that book because it is a great work. And but what inspired you to write The Third Eye, which was the book behind The Matrix and the Terminator? What inspired you to do that?
Well, the book is called The Third Eye, Matrix and Terminator, because the title, The Third Eye, is because on Earth we have two eyes, but the third eye is the all-seeing eye of God. That is the third eye, which a lot of people want to call the pineal gland or the wisdom, the wisdom. And the Matrix is talking about the womb, because that's where God's children come out of. The Matrix is a 7,000-year-old word, Latin word for the womb, the woman's womb. The difference between a man and a woman is this womb, not the vagina and the penis. That doesn't make you a man or woman. A woman can have a baby, and a man will never, ever, ever have a baby, and he will never have an umbilical cord called a feeding tube, and he will never have breast milk. The doctor might put some tumors on him or some falsies, silicone, but he'll never have breast milk, and he'll never have estrogen to expand a matrix, which is the womb. Because the estrogen, the hormone, is what expands the woman's womb for 9 months or 36 weeks. So there's no Dr. Frankenstein ever out there anywhere in space or on Earth that can make a man into a woman. Sorry, spoiler alert.
Right.
It's just not going to happen, no matter how many lies you tell. It's just the truth.
Exactly. And that's so real. That's so real.
It's just the
what did you say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I was saying it's the absolute truth. Absolutely. And what inspired me was I saw that all these white science fiction movies out there, there was Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, Iron Man, and Rocky saving the world, but there were no black science fiction with black leadership roles. And so The Matrix, they wrote about me in the Los Angeles Sentinel newspaper. Y'all can go into the archives and look it up and read it. They said Sophia Stewart is going to come out with the first black science fiction with black leadership role to inspire little black children around the world that they can become anything they want to, including President of the United States. And the late Julian Bond came and congratulated me, and he was just totally amazed by it. And Wesley Snipes, he invited me to dinner, became friends with me, and I asked him during the dinner in Los Angeles, I said, why did you want to meet me, and why did you invite me to dinner? He said, you don't understand. You don't understand. I have to meet the woman who changed the world. And just like you were saying earlier, Star, that The Matrix and the Terminator changed the entire globe with 2 to 3 billion fans globally around the world. With black leadership role. And no black people, and even though 3/4 of the earth is nothing but black people, had ever seen themselves in leadership roles. They watched the cowboy movies. Instead of identifying with the Indians, they always identified with the cavalry. And they always identified with Superman, Batman, Iron Man, Spider-Man, and even Rocky. And Rocky was based on the Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier story.
Right.
There was no real Rocky, but only in the movies, but glorifying white science fiction with no black leadership role. Because in all of the white science fiction movies, the white guys is the heroes saving the world. But except for in The Matrix. If you look at The Matrix, the agents are the white guys who are the bad guys, and all the black people. And we're not talking about black skin and white skin, because there are black people with white skin and there's white people with black skin, but it's their DNA, their blood DNA, that makes them white or black, not their skin cover. The skin is nothing but a cover. That's all it's ever been. So there's a lot of black people with white skin passing, with white privilege, and there's a lot of dark-skinned people that are white, and their children come out of them, the DNA white. And this is the absolute truth for every scientist and doctor knows what I'm talking about. And there's a lot of educated people that know this, and philosophers. And this magazine, that people wrote this magazine called Sepia, Sepia. Look it up, everybody. Google it, Sepia, Sepia. It came before Ebony and Jet. And you could read in there, they're talking about all these white-skinned black people passing for white. And a lot of these people became Aryans and Hell's Angels and all kinds of organizations because they hated that black blood they had. And they've been propagating this white-skinned black people for many, many years in Louisiana with the quadrum ball. and this has been going on for a long, long time. You go back to 7 presidents before Obama had white skin, but they were black presidents. They were black, and let's name them: Hanson, the Moore,
Okay.
Eisenhower, Andrew Jackson, Thomas Jefferson, Coolidge, Harding. All of these people were black, but they had white skin, but they were black, and including Keanu Reeves. He has white skin, but his father is Asian Polynesian. They always try to say he's from Lebanon and Lebanese and all of this.
No. Oh, okay.
Because Hollywood can conjure any kind of story. They make all kinds of stories up just to get what they want.
Okay.
But the truth is,
well,
the
this
Matrix
is what
is black. Well, I want to just say this. The Matrix is black leadership role, and this is why they didn't want the teenage boy or the young adult to be in Star Wars, because Star Wars is white science fiction, and there was no black leadership role. So this is why I was inspired to give the world the truth. The Terminator is the prequels or the beginning of the epic story. Terminator End Time Revelations, because in Revelations it said the Christ conscious would come back upon the earth. It came the first time when you read it in the Bible, but I wrote a science fiction story, a little science fiction story with high technology and alien technology and virtual reality and all kinds of visionary stuff, talking about the second time this Christ consciousness would be born with Sarah Connor, past, present, and future time travel, just like the Bible set up. When you look at in the Bible, the Old Testament, that's our past. When you look at the present, that is the New Testament, right here, right now, the present. And when you look at Revelations, that is the future, what one will become. So what was your question?
My question is, I want to first just go into something that a lot of people are talking about online, and we talked about it on the phone about something specific about the Matrix. Because if you look at the Matrix now, you look at all the movie that has come out now, there's a line in there that a lot of people recall, but now it's not in the movie. You know, that line is, "What if I told you?" Morpheus says it, and he's talking to Neo. That's what people recall. They recall that in this reality. They recall Morpheus saying, "What if I told you?" Excuse me.
Because Morpheus did, because Morpheus did say that in the first movie. And what people don't understand is, let me explain what movies are. Movies are not when people have written anything. Movies are adapted from books, and you guys know this because Lord of the Rings book by J.R.R. Tolkien is dead. They adapted the book to the screen. So the Lord of the Rings movie was written by J.R.R. Tolkien. That's his work. Just like the Third Eye, Matrix, and Terminator. The Matrix and Terminator wasn't inspired by my book. It was adapted from my book. I created the characters, the graphics, the special effects, the logo, the red and blue peel, I'll be back, the dialogue, the concept, and everything came right out of the book. When you film a movie, it's filming, just like you take your camera out and you go out and you film some scenes. The source work is already out there. You didn't create the source work. You just went out and filmed it. You didn't write anything. You didn't create anything. You just took a picture, whether it was moving. That's what a film is, a moving picture. Or you took some stills. Those are single shots. That's like you take a single picture. And if you understood that, then you would know that Hollywood don't create anything. They either buy it or they steal it. That's all that's going on. They either buy it or they steal the source work. Nothing else is going on. They don't create anything because if they could create, there would be no need to steal it or buy it.
Right.
Did you ever think about that?
Right. Oh yeah.
But
absolutely.
I need to teach people. I need to teach people how films are made because they have no inkling or idea. They always go around saying somebody stole your ideas. Nobody can steal your idea. Idea is nothing but a thought, and it's something you visualize. So no one can steal your thought or something you visualize, but they can steal your intellectual property. And intellectual property is in a form and it's been copyrighted, whether it's a short story, a script, a book, a play, a graphic novel, a comic book. It's in a form that is copyrighted. My copyrights are 81, 83, and 84. My 84 copyright, the date is February the 6th, 1984. The Matrix didn't come out till March the 31st, 1999. So how can the movie come before the book? The Terminator didn't come until October the 26th, 1984. So how can that movie come before the book? The book was already out and published, just like Lord of the Rings book was already out and published, just like John Grisham's book, The Firm, which became the movie, The Firm, and The Pelican Brief, which became that movie. John Grisham already had the books out, published, selling. The Gravity book, the Gravity movie, the Maze book, the Maze movie, Cloud Atlas, David Mitchell's book, Cloud Atlas movie. The Wachowskis didn't write anything or create anything. David Mitchell had already written the book. They bought it and adapted it to the screen. Just like V for Vendetta, the English writer Alan Moore's work. They didn't write V for Vendetta. Alan Moore had a book out already before they even created the movie, filmed it. Just like my work, it was already a book and a script, copyrighted before the movies ever even existed. And when you read the books, you'll see where it came from. And the continuation is the Matrix 4 book, the one that Star was just telling you that he had read. That is phenomenal. And that book has been out since 2010 for 11 years, read around the entire world, globally, to satisfy the Matrix and Terminator fans, which are 2 to 3 billion fans. It doesn't take you 18 years to figure that Andy and Larry Wachowski didn't write or create anything. The last movie was in 2003. That's 18 years ago. It's 2021. Wake up, unplug. All creators and owners continue their work. They don't wait 18 years to try to give you another movie. Why would you wait 18 years? And what do you? Wait a minute. Let's see what the. Wait a minute. That's the 20th trailer. Wait a minute. The 20th trailer on the Matrix 4. There's 19 other ones. Google it. Google it on YouTube. 19 other. And what is it called? Resuscitation? Like you're trying to resuscitate something dead? No, resurrect something dead. That's resuscitation. Or you're trying to bring something dead alive. Why would you kill out $1 billion franchise if it's not broke and making money? You would only kill it out because you didn't write it. Just like with King Solomon, when King Solomon, the woman stole the baby, and King Solomon said he was going to solve that problem because the woman is arguing that was her baby, the thief, and then the real mother was saying it was her baby, and so King Solomon says, well, he's going to cut the baby in half. Well, the real mother doesn't want her baby to die. She said, just give it to the thief. But the thief kept telling King Solomon to kill the baby. Kill it, because it's not hers. Not hers. She didn't birth it. Kill it. And then King Solomon said, you're the thief. That's not your baby. Take her out and hang her. And that's what they did. Took her out and hung her for thievery, for theft. Because a real mother, a real creator is not going to kill their work. They're not going to kill out Neo and Trinity and Morpheus and then come back and try to rebrand the whole franchise as John Wick.
Right.
And Morpheus never had any son. So why would he try to reteach an old Neo, an old John Wick how to fight? And the red and blue pill was already resolved 22 years ago. So why is that coming back up? And why is Neo going to see a psychiatrist? He's not crazy or anything, mentally ill. Where's the oracle at? And, oh, yeah, in the logo, the recipe, that's a recipe. It's not the green tint of the logo of the Matrix. And what did they do? Trinity, that's not Trinity. Where's their clothes at? That don't look like Trinity or anything to do with the Matrix. And where's Morpheus? Where's the Oracle? Where's Agent Smith?
Right.
Because the fourth installment is called Evolution. The first one is called The Matrix. The second is The Rebellion, Reloaded. The third is Revolution. And the fourth is Evolution, because now the machines have evolved into a greater threat for Neo. Whoever heard of a fourth installment being a resuscitation or resurrection? That doesn't.
You might as well call it
carrying on. Well, that's what resurrection means. Resuscitate. That's like you trying to resuscitate or bring something back alive that's been dead for 18 years. You're telling people that it's been dead for 18 years and you're trying to resuscitate it, but you can't write it. So what do you got? You got a bunch of garbage by David Mitchell, garbage. Larry Wachowski, who's not a transgender or not even no name change, no sex reassignment, nothing. Just a fraud and a lie. A thief. That's all he is, a liar and a thief. And the LGBT, when they find out, they're going to hang him. Because he's been lying for how long? 18 years he's been lying to the community that he changed his name and did a reassignment, he and Andy Wachowski. Andy's been married to his wife for over 22 years. He never had no sex change. He never had no name change. They can't even get a name change because they're thieves. They've been paying to stay out of jail, but they're going to go to jail sooner or later, just like Al Capone, just like John Gotti, Bertie Madoff, Whitey Bulger. It catches up with you. That's what all crimes do. It catches up with you. Yeah, you pay for 20 or 30 years and stay out of jail, but after a while, all that money will disappear. Whitey Bulger had a brother who was a senator, and they made him step down to get Whitey Bulger. His best friend was an FBI director, yes. And Al Capone had a police commissioner, because the police commissioner would call up Al and say, Al, we're getting ready to raid 2 or 3 of your places. Make sure you're not there because we have to fool the public into thinking we're doing our job. So all they've been doing is lying to you guys for 18 years and making y'all think they're doing their job when they're not doing anything but getting paid off. Because every time anyone counterfeit a copyright, that's what it's called. When you steal and you make something out of a copyright and take a derivative and make a derivative out of the copyright, it's called counterfeiting. It's just like you taking a $50 bill and making it into $500. Or you take a $100 bill and make it into a $1,000 bill. You're altering it. You're counterfeiting. It's a criminal act to copy any copyrighted work or trademark work is counterfeiting. Just what Little Nas X or whatever his name is. He and the company Mischief and the executive, they counterfeited Nike. That's right. They counterfeited Nike. Nike was already copywritten and trademarked and branded around the world. And how can you say that you did not know what you were doing? It was intentional. You take Nike and put some blood and alter it and sell 666,000 copies. When Nike came after Mischief executives in the company and Little Nas to get the damages, to get the money, but the government has to come in and get them for counterfeiting. It's the same thing that if you alter Gucci or Louis Vuitton and you take and make a copy of it any kind of way. It's counterfeiting, and it makes all our money valueless with no value. That's why the government has to come in and arrest you for counterfeiting, because it devalues everything. It devalues the money. It devalues the property. But it's intentional counterfeiting. And if you use somebody's copyrighted work, you can't even apply for a copyright or a trademark, because there's such a law called under the penalty of perjury. Under the penalty of perjury means that if you apply for a driving license at the motor vehicle and they say you swear under oath and you put your brother's birth certificate in there and get the driving license, it becomes automatically invalidated and operative, meaning you didn't get anything from the government at all. It's automatically null and void. And when you get into an accident, when it catches up with you, they can prosecute you under the penalty of perjury because you signed off on the fraud with your own name as a witness.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to know these laws out here that criminals are operating because they're paying off different government officials. They paid Eric Holder for 7 years. He didn't prosecute not one case, but y'all had him in there. Y'all paid for him to be in there, and then Obama got him out. He didn't prosecute not one case. He was there for 7 years. How can you be there for 7 years and crime is going on, and you don't even prosecute anybody? And you are the DOJ, Department of the Department of Criminal Actions, DOJ, the Department of Justice.
Mhm. Well, let me ask you this, Sophia. Let me ask you this, because and you guys call in 516-453-9174. I do see all the callers on the line, and I do see the people that have pressed 1 to let me know that they do have a question or comment. I will get to you guys very, very shortly, so you guys stay on the line. But I do have a question. Now, you heard it here first. Sophia Stewart remembers What Have I Told You? That's a supposed Mandela effect, but that she remembers it and she knows that it was in there.
It's a Mandela effect. They cut it out because a film can be edited anytime and new footage added to it and taken out. So it's no Mandela effect or the butterfly effect. It's them messing with your minds, because all they did was edit the film and put it back out, and every time they put it out, it adds 10 years to their crime, to their criminal act, where they can go to prison at 70 years old, because the RICO Act kicks in with every time you counterfeit, it adds 10 years where you can go to jail at any age. Even if you're 100 years old, you can still go to prison, because if you stop stealing and stop counterfeiting, the statutes of limitations will have a chance to run out. But if you continue to steal, the statutes will never run out. Every time you sell a counterfeited property or counterfeited anything, it adds 10 years to the statutes. So that statutes of limitation will never run out as long as you're making money off of something that is federally protected and you're counterfeiting it, or it's trademarked and copyrighted. And this is so sad because they don't know the RICO law, and a lot of their attorneys don't even understand the RICO law or the RICO Act. But ask any criminal lawyers, they know, especially the JAG lawyers by the government. They're some of the most brilliant and smartest lawyers in the world. And they know RICO very, very well. Most of these regular attorneys that you get, all they know is garden variety law. They don't even understand the RICO law, but you can understand if you would study the old black and white Untouchables with Elliot Ness. Just go look at those old black and white Untouchable movies, and you'll learn a lot of RICO law. You'll learn what loan sharking is. You'll learn where they put the drugs out, drug trade. You'll learn a lot of stuff where drive-by came by, where all these black gangbangers got the drive-by shooting from. The Untouchables had those automatic weapons driving by and shooting up everything, shooting up clubs, shooting up restaurants. That's where all the drive-bys. That's where every gangbanger, the Bloods and the Crips. That's where they got all that. The gangs of New York. I'm from New York. A New Yorker. The gangs of New York was out there before the Bloods and the Crips and the Skulls and the Assassins and everything else that came later. They're all mimicking stuff that has been here. There's nothing new under the sun. God tells you that in the Bible.
Absolutely.
You just
got
to trace it to its origin. Yes, go ahead.
No, you had said something profound online, and I thought it was very profound, and I wanted to ask you about this. You said that when you said religion will disappear when man doesn't need it anymore, and I thought that was so profound. Do you think that's happening right now? Do you think religion is disappearing right now because the information that people have is being finished?
There's such a thing as dogma. That's what they call religion, dogma. And there's such a thing as man worshiping God. Man will always worship God no matter what. But a lot of people who teach dogma is not there to teach the laws of God, but to continue to keep people as sheep and keep them plugged in and keep them uniform. And so I'm talking about dogma will disappear because I believe that in the future the truth will shine and shine brighter than ever, and that man will be freed from dogma and lies and ignorance, especially ignorance. Because the ignorance, look at the word ignorance, it has the word ignore in it, because people are simply ignoring facts that they should know. They're ignoring truth that they should know, because God said he wrote it in our hearts and in our minds, and we didn't have to read it from a book because we were the books. We are the ones who create the books. The books didn't create us. We came before the book didn't come before us. And that we carry this knowledge in our DNA, our memory chips, which is called a DNA, which I'm talking about in the Matrix 4 book, the fourth installment. That we have these living memory chips of ancient times and ancient knowledge, and that we're able to access that knowledge and information and to create some of the most phenomenal things here and to do some of the most phenomenal things that you can possibly do and give to the world. But a lot of people die, like God says, because of a lack of knowledge. They perish because of a lack of knowledge. And people rather mimic and be sheep than to go and dig for the truth. Go out and search for the truth and be the truth and live the truth. It is so difficult for some of those to do that. It's just easy to copy and to be part of the group, even though the group is lying, but you're too weak to stand on your own and you know, too weak to stand on your own.
Right.
So some things here are nothing but crutches, and they will disappear through evolution when they're not needed anymore. Will become extinct. Go on.
Okay. Well, let me do this because there's a lot of callers on the line. I do want to get to some of the callers. You guys call in 516-453-9174. Support independent Black empowering media via Cash App, $ Palmetto Star. You guys hit the Cash App, $ Palmetto Star. PALMETTOSTAR. Go ahead and hit the Cash App and support independent Black empowering media. But I do want to get to all the callers. And remember to press 1 if you do have a comment or a question. 6946. And remember, you get one question and keep it brief because we do have a lot of people that are asking questions today. So 6946, you're on the line with 2RAW4TV. The Matrix Exposed.
Peace and Black
you have a comment or
supremacy. Can you hear me?
Excuse me? Yeah, I can hear you.
Peace and Black supremacy, John.
Black supremacy.
Okay, man, I'm glad I got through. My question is, I want to know, Ms. Stewart, Do you think that, or how do you think that your works have influenced the modern technology that's being introduced to the public, such as the metaverse and the virtual reality and stuff like what's being released by Tesla, all the robots and stuff? How do you think your works have influenced that?
Because what I wrote was the second coming of the Christ, the evolutions of consciousness, man versus the machine. So the Matrix and Terminator is talking about the artificial intelligence, the AI, and how the AI is born, which is called man's children versus God's children. And that's the war that's going on right now. And it's been going on. And I've been talking about virtual reality for the last 11, almost 12 years, since 2010. The book is selling globally, the Matrix 4 book, Matrix 4 Evolution. And it shows you exactly how man's children evolved into conscious machines and how they were able to enslave mankind, how this Neo, the one, this child born, it's a science fiction story, but inspired by God and Revelations. It speaks the truth, but I wrote it in science fiction form, and it's dealing with technology. I'm talking about virtual penal system, virtual companies. I'm talking about virtual skateboards, and I'm talking about this years and before the iPhone and the iPad, and where the iPad is going to go with the satellites and stuff, and how these virtual penal system in the future. I was talking about this almost 12 years ago, before the pandemic came, how the new city, Vegas, was going to look with waterfront yachts, and how the terrain and everything was going to change here. It's all in there, all futuristic. Homeland Security even was reading my book. All of the politicians reading the book, because I'm talking about stuff that's 100 years ahead, just like Tesla, a polymath, like Tesla and Leonardo da Vinci, who also was talking futuristic stuff about flying planes and everything way before it became a reality. Wireless from Tesla, the wireless light bulb, all of this creativities and CERN machine that they're using now, the towers that you see, T-Mobile and Verizon and AT&T, all of them are using Tesla's towers. How do you think that cell phone is operating? And what I was talking about, the virtual penal system and where the drones are going, how we're going to have giant drone transporters, and they're building them now. Electrical planes that fly by themselves. Except it's horrible because they'll burn up. You might as well have a plane that flies with water than to have it flying with electrical, because when you get trapped in that, you just burn up, just like you burn up in the Tesla electric car. I think electric cars was a bad idea, because you need to Google the wrecks in those Tesla cars and see what happens when you get in a wreck. I'm sorry I wouldn't buy one. I'd rather have a car that's ran by water like the old T-model Fords. Go back and look at some of those old cowboy movies, and because there was no Exxon and no Mobil and no shale companies. Those T-model Fords they were operating on water. The steamboats was operating on water. You better go back and look at those old movies. You remember those T-model Fords and those old cars? They were going all over the country. There wasn't any roads. There was no roads. There was no gasoline, no gas stations. There was no electrical cars. No, they killed up all those people who had patents so you could have free energy. That's what Tesla was trying to teach, free energy. But they can't make no money off of free energy. They can only make money off of chemicals and oil and stuff like that. That's not really good for the economy or good for the people. Just like water, 3/4 of the earth is water. The most valuable thing on this earth is water. It's not gold. It's not
Mm-hmm.
diamonds. It's not mansions. It's not Ferraris. It's not pearls. It's not money. It's water. Water is the most valuable thing on this whole planet Earth. And without water, everything would die. Everything.
Exactly.
Water is the substance that keeps everything alive.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do want to get to some more calls. You guys again call in 516.
Can't make no money off of water. It's free. I say they can't make no money off of water. It's free. Rainwater, free.
Mm-hmm. And also, you guys online, go ahead and go to truthaboutmatrix.com. Truthaboutmatrix.com. You guys go ahead and get Matrix 4 right now, the real Matrix 4 from Sophia Stewart. You guys go ahead. If you're online right now, go to Truth, open up another tab, and go to truthaboutmatrix.com. Go ahead and support this awesome writer who has changed the world in real time. In real time, not many people could say that. A lot of people have changed the world posthumously. You know, after they have died, people have looked at their work and they have changed the world. But it is rare for somebody to come in and in real time, while they are still here. So give Sophia Stewart, the Oracle, the Mother of the Matrix, her flowers right now in real time. Go ahead and cop the Matrix 4, the real Matrix 4. Don't support the other stuff. The real Matrix 4 is right there at truthaboutmatrix.com. You guys go ahead and get that book. And also support independent Black empowering media via Cash App, $Palmetto Star, $PALMETTOSTAR. I am going to get to all the callers, you guys. Now, the thing today, be brief, only one question, but I am going to get to all you guys. I love you guys, but we do have a lot of callers on the line. I do want to get to as many people as I can. So 1510, you are on the line with 2RAW4TV, The Matrix Exposed. What's your comment or question? 1510? Can you hear me? 1510? Okay, going once. Going twice. 1510. You may be on mute. I can't hear you. All right. We'll come back to you later, but make sure to get off mute. All right. 8110. You're on the line with 2RAW4TV, The Matrix Exposed. Do you have a question or comment for Sophia Stewart?
Yeah, peace, Black Supremacy, bro, BY.
Black Supremacy.
Hey, so I wasn't clear. I ain't sure if the sister Sophia Stewart spoke on it, but what happened with the case, because it's mixed, like it's mixed information online. Some people saying it got dismissed and things like that. So what really happened with the case? Like, did you win the case, or is it still? Is you still in litigation? What's the outcome of the case?
Listen, I'm glad you brought that up, because they've been lying to you guys for years on the internet, lies, and you guys need to go to the news, to the archives where the real news is. The internet is nothing but a communication platform. That's all it is, a distribution platform to make money. There were 3 court cases. The first case, I filed a RICO on them, trying to put them in jail when the DA is like the Department of Justice. Like the same thing with blue collar, the DOJ is white collar criminals. They put them in jail. They sold out Elizabeth Stevens and Greg Diamond, the U.S. Attorney's Office in Utah. They sold out and did not prosecute these people. So I filed a RICO on them, and they sent 4 law firms that had worked with one of the judges to sabotage the case to get it dismissed so they wouldn't go to jail. A RICO case is a criminal case because we can do citizens arrest under the amendment, under the Constitution. So I try to get them arrested myself. and that was the case, the California case from 2003, which was lasted till 2005. Then I filed the Utah case on the 4 attorney law firms, and I got Warner Brothers and them added themselves and to the case. Several other law firms, Andy and Larry Wachowski, James Cameron, Gail Ann Hurd, all of the defendants that was in the California case added themselves to the Utah case, federal case, both of them, and try to get the money so they could steal the copyrights or take the copyrights from me. If they won this $305,000 judgment, which was attorney fees, and I didn't pay those fees, they could take the copyrights from me. And that's why they entered the courts to do that. But I won the case pro se and beat all of them, all those law firms. One law firm had over 100 attorneys because I'm a polymath. So I beat them. And anybody who wants to see the proof, go to my website, and I'll be glad to send you the court dockets. I went on Judge Joe Brown in 2019, and I got $3.5 billion in liens on their properties because one of the CPA witnesses of mine got on the witness stand and said that Warner Brothers had lost $500 million, $500 million, $500 million. And I told Obama about it. That was that half of $500 million was used to do payoffs, slush fund payoffs. I could have objected to the CPA and told the judge he was my witness and he couldn't do anything for Warner Brothers. They had to have their own CPAs or experts. They have to have their own lawyers, but none of them showed up to the federal court because they were going to get arrested because they had counterfeited copyrights. Even their attorneys were going to get arrested, so nobody showed up. So this is what happened. I won that court case, and you can see docket 282 and 283. And I won 2 default judgments in there. That's right. One for $150 million. That one of the judges who was a Grand Master Ku Klux Klansman did not want to give me that $150 million. And the other judge, Brooke C. Wells, I had said she was a prostitute that sold her soul to the highest bidder for money. And I wrote this in the legal brief, them off of my case. Both of them recused off my case because if they try to do anything to me, and they got a lot of power because federal judges have the ultimate power. You can see in A Few Good Men with Jack Nicholson when that black judge told him he was in his domain. He might be a 3 or 4-star general. He might be able outside of that courtroom called martial law, but the federal judge has the ultimate power in their domain. But when I wrote the truth about these judges and they were going to be investigated, they jumped off my case, but they were crooked. I needed them off. So I wrote about them in the legal briefs intentionally, so that way the media could start investigating them. So if they try to do any harm to me, they would be the ones that end up going to jail because I was telling the truth about them. That woman judge, she was using a lawyer, Matthew Jones, to do her cases. She couldn't even do any cases. She had never gone to judge school for 3 years. And then these new judges came on. Judge Evelyn J. First, what the FBI told me was a really good judge, and D. Benson. They were the 2 judges that came on, and that's who I won through pro se. And then I also won a Nevada case. I won the Nevada case for $55 billion. I got a default judgment. That's right. And they hated it. They hated it because I'm a prodigy. I'm a prodigy, greater than a genius, a prodigy. My polymath, like Tesla, and I told you, Leonardo da Vinci, they hated it. And so what they did was they hid my court case under a fake case number with a fake judge name that wasn't even a judge when I filed on February the 11th, 2018. I won that $55 billion in 2019. In March the 5th, 2019, a default judgment, and they hid it, and they got it hidden right now. And I put in Donald Trump, because he was president, executive order, that if you made any kind of money off of sex trafficking or criminal acts, that the government can file on that money that $55 billion from all those studios, take that money and it's restitution for me, but they can take that money under the Trump's executive order. So I put that in there to get that money. And you guys don't know, that's going to come next in the news. That's going to be big in the news very soon because all their stuff is unraveling because of the pandemic. It is the same thing that happened to Pharaoh. Go back and look in Exodus when Moses came with the staff of truth and he told the Pharaoh that he had to let God's children go because you can't work God's children like for slaves and don't pay them. You cannot do that. You have to pay. And he didn't want to pay. So when God brought in the pandemic on him and his children and his associates' children and his generals and all of that, all their kids were hit up by the pandemic. And when their kids died, that's when the pharaohs paid those children, God's children, and Moses had to take them out of there through the Red Sea. And they tried to double cross and come back and get them, and that's when they got swallowed up in the Red Sea, which is the Red Sea is the blood. So that's what's going on now, right now with this pandemic, because God sent a lot of stuff on the pharaohs, but the pharaohs thought they were gods upon the earth. And they totally ignored God when he brought in the locusts, when he brought in the droughts, when he brought in many things. The Pharaoh laughed at it and brought his own witches and warlocks out to create illusions. But when God sent in that pandemic, the death angels, God told his people to mark their doors with the blood because the death angel can't cross over the blood. And the death angel, when it comes out, it'll take out any and everybody. It doesn't care. It's a death angel. It'll just take out any and everybody. So if you don't have your doors covered with the blood, that's what the Exodus was all about, then the death angel will get you, whether you were innocent or bad. Didn't matter. And so when the death angel came out and wiped out all of Pharaoh's firstborns and wiped out Pharaoh's officials' firstborn, they all was gashing their teeth and crying, but they paid that money. And that's what's going on right now, the pandemic. And the pandemic is wiping them out. That's right, because the trap you set for an innocent man, the trap you going to fall in yourself. Did you hear what I said? The trap you set for others is going to be the trap for you. And the pandemic, they might mean bad for people, but it ain't going to be good for them because it's going to wipe out a whole lot of their people. And it's doing it right now. And this is why a lot of black people are getting their lands back. This is why a lot of black people are getting all their stuff back. This is why everything is changing, because the death angel with the pandemic is out right now. And the death angel don't discriminate. It ain't going after black people. The death angel is going to come after everybody that don't got their doors marked with their blood. It ain't marked with that blood, with the red, with the blood. You need to go in the Bible and read Exodus because you're living it right now. You're living Exodus right now.
Sophia Stewart is dropping some gems on you guys right now. You guys call in 516-453-9174. Open up another tab. Go to truthaboutmatrix.com and get the real Matrix for right now. Give Sophia Stewart her flowers right now in real time because she is changing the culture and changing the world right now. Matter of fact, if you've been listening to 2RAW4TV, you guys know my intro. I say, if you hear my voice, then you're part of the revolution. And that is actually an adaptation from the Terminator, from actually one of the Terminator movies, where John Connor goes, if you hear me, then you're part of the resistance. So we took that from the Terminator movie and sort of remixed it a little bit to put it in context of the revolution. And I've been saying that since we started broadcasting on November 4th, 2010. So that's one of the things that directly comes from, from you, Sophia Stewart. That definitely comes from,
That's right, because the Terminator. Yeah, because Terminator End Time Revelations, Terminator. That's right, because the resistance is right here, right now. It's about the rebellion, the resistance. It's about man versus God versus man's children, because God's children are three-dimensional beings: the astral body, the physical body, and the seed, the soul of continuation. And man is creating his own children, lab rats in the laboratory. And these children, the machines, the clones, the drones, you guys haven't seen anything. You won't even be able to tell a difference between a clone or one of God's children that is 3D. You won't be able to tell about a machine because he's going to be wrapped in flesh, killed but cannot be killed, like the Terminator, because no one had ever seen anything like it. That was the first time, because all the white science fiction story writers, they were using H.G. Wells' old metal clankety clank. That was the first time in the Terminator that they saw a Terminator machine wrapped in flesh, looking like a man, naked without shame. He was naked without shame because he didn't have any seed or no soul. And he went and put some clothes on to deceive. But he didn't have any shame because he didn't have any seed or soul. That's why he was naked without shame, and he was time traveling, coming through the burning blue portal, landing naked. Just like when you come here through the portal of the womb, you come here naked, and when you leave out of here, you leave out of here naked. And you didn't bring anything with you, and you can't take nothing when you leave. Go back and look at the Terminator. He's naked without shame. He's landing naked. And so did Kyle Reese. Kyle Reese came to save Sarah Connor. He inadvertently falls in love with her, gets her pregnant, the Immaculate Conception, and now he has to go back to the future from where he came from because he can't stay in the past. It was past, present, and future time travel. So he had to go back. And then she was wondering about him because she had fallen in love with him, and she was on her way. As you can see in the second Terminator, the baby, the teenager, and the man-child, but he was asleep consciously. He didn't know who he was and why the Terminators were trying to kill him. And why one was trying to protect him to make sure he stay alive. And then what happens? He's hitting out in the city, and this is where the Matrix come in. He's hitting into the rebellions. The rebellion reloaded starts, and Morpheus come, and the rebels come, and at 30 years of age, the rebellion starts, the reloaded, and they come and they awaken him to his purpose, and they take him to the oracle for the prophecy, and Morpheus trained him to fight the machines, and that's Neo, the One. John the Revelator was the only one that called Jesus the One, Neo. An anagram, N-E-O-O-N-E, one and the same. So the Terminator End Time Revelations is the beginning of the epic story. Past, present, and future time travel like the Bible.
I want you to hold that thought, Sophia. You guys go right now, open up another tab, truthaboutmatrix.com. Go ahead and get the real Matrix for. And also support independent Black empowering media via Cash App, $Palmetto Star, that's $PALMETTOSTAR. Support this media. We've been doing this since November 4th, 2010. It's more than a radio show. It's a movement. We put boots on the ground, been housing people, clothing people, feeding people. It's all part of what we do here at 2RAW4TV. So support independent Black empowering media, $Palmetto Star. I do want to get to all the callers, and you guys have been patiently waiting on the line. I appreciate it, and I am going to get to as many people as I can. But remember, one question, very brief, for Sophia Stewart. So 2747, you're on the line with 2RAW4TV. The Matrix closed. You have a question? 2747. Black supremacy.
Yes, Black Supremacy and Black Supremacy, Miss Stewart.
Yes.
Okay.
What is your
I have
question,
one
hon?
question. I have one question, and it's regarding to the Matrix. Okay. How would you explain the context and the meaning of the Matrix for somebody who's just either reading the book or watching the movie in today's time? Because you got some people, like, if they were to watch it, they're like, oh, no, I didn't like it, I didn't understand it. But how would you explain it in today's time with Corona, everything going on politically? How would you explain it to somebody right now?
You talking about the Matrix? How would I explain the Matrix?
Yeah. For somebody like whenever, like even like read a story or even looked at the movie, how would you explain it to somebody who's looking at it for the first time?
Well, this is the deal. People always go out and buy the book if it's a movie out. If it's because a movie is nothing but no more than 1 hour and 36 minutes or 2 hours and 10 or 15 minutes on the screen. It's just a snippet out of the book. So what whites and Jews do, they go out and get the book and read the book, and they get all the details, and they see what's missing out of the movie because you can only put so much in a movie. So you don't really have to explain it, the work, to anybody. When you see the movie, you go get the book. If you read the book, you go see the movie. That's the way it's always been. You don't have to explain literary work to people. That's why people buy books. That's why they go out and see movies. That's why they adapt best-selling books to the screen. So you don't have to explain the work. If you go to the movies and you like the work, you read the book and you'll get all the details that the movie can't offer you. The Matrix is self-explanatory. It comes right out of the King James's Bible, The Matrix. Google it. It's in the King James Bible. It's mentioned 5 times in Scripture, 3 times in Exodus, 2 times in Numbers. Exodus 34th chapter, 19th verse. God said, if you open the matrix are my children, born with the wombs. Even the insects and the animals, some of them have wombs. They have baby sheep. They have wombs. Horses, they have wombs. Come on.
Now,
it's
I want to ask you
self-explanatory.
this because
It's black leadership. When you look at the Matrix, you never seen yourself in any black leadership role. Look at all the black people operating. Look at the rave. Look at how many black people are on the screen. You've never seen yourself like that in a positive role, in a leadership role. If you're in a white science fiction movie, Star Wars or any of the other ones, a black person's in that movie, 1 or 2, they die out the first 10 minutes of the movie. If you miss the first 10 minutes of the movie, you won't even know a black person was ever in that movie. All you're doing is identifying, again, with the cavalry, the white cavalry instead of the Indians. Yeah, you're the Indians, but you don't want to see that. You want to think of yourself as the cavalry. It's called the Stockholm Syndrome, where you identify with the kidnappers. That's all it is.
Exactly.
You don't want to see you don't want to see the truth. You're in denial.
I want to say this or ask you about this because it's obvious that you are the one that inspired the Matrix. They cannot make a reduplicate.
No, I didn't inspire them. No, listen, I didn't inspire the Matrix. I wrote the Matrix and Terminator. No, they were inspired by wanting to do it, by wanting to film it. They had the inspiration to film it. Inspiration means when you want to do something. No, it was already done. I had already created it, wrote it way before it became a movie, 81, 83, and 84, the copyrights. And anytime somebody make a derivative of my copyright, I can copyright it. It's the same way if you're in the hospital and you're the mother or the father of the baby, and somebody come in there and kidnap and steal your babies, you're the only one that can give them a birth certificate. The thief can't give them a birth certificate, can't register them. The thief can never own your kids, no matter how many of them they steal. The mother is the only one that can give the baby a birth certificate, the mother and the father of that baby, not the thief. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
A thief will never own a copyright or a trademark to anything he stole because there are lawyers at the Library of Congress. I've gotten a man his avatar copyrights when his lawyers, he paid him a lot of money, didn't get him nothing. I got another man, the Black Panther copyrights. Do you understand? Anybody can own the derivatives of anything that's stolen. It is automatically traced back to the copyrights. The copyrights come before, and whatever is derived from those copyrights are nothing but a derivative. That's why it's called derivative, because it's derived from a source. Just like the baby comes from the mother. The mother is the source. But you'll need to be educated. You need to be educated because you don't have to pay these crooked lawyers that are not going to do nothing but take your money because they're on the side of the studios. When it's so simple, it's easy to copyright the derivatives because they cannot own a copyright. A thief cannot own a copyright or a trademark under the penalty of perjury. And when you sign under the penalty of perjury, just like when they take you to the police department and your lawyers tell you not to talk, not to say anything, because once you sign that confession, it's under the penalty of perjury, they can use that signed confession to prosecute you. That's what the government does with all of its facilities, whether you go get a driving license, you go get a trademark or a copyright or anything you dealing with the government, he's going to put you under the penalty of perjury so he can use you as a witness against yourself to prosecute you. They don't need anybody. They don't need any evidence. Anything you think you got is automatic, inoperative, and null and void. Is invalidated, inoperative, null and void. You don't have anything. If you lie under oath and you perjure yourself, they can use you for the fraud and perjury to prosecute you. You guys need to learn this. You need to know this. Very important.
No doubt, no doubt. You guys take notes because Sophia Stewart is dropping gems right now. You guys call in 516-453-9174. We do have a couple more minutes in the live stream. I do want to get to all the callers. But this is what I want to ask you. I want to ask you about, do you think the Wachowski brothers are feigning trans because of legal reasons to try to skate out of their legality and just
did I think
sort
they
of
went
like,
out? Wait a minute, what's the question? I think what about them?
Because you alluded to the fact that that they're sort of faking the whole trans thing. Do you think
they are faking it? Listen to me. They are faking it. They're nothing but liars and thieves. They have no. Listen, when I filed a lawsuit on them three times, the California case, 2005, the Utah case, I won September the 25th, 2014. The Nevada case, I won in November the 5th, 2019. In all three of the court cases, I asked for their name change. You got to get a legal name change through the courts. And I asked for their sex reassignment by the doctors. You have to put those medical reports in. Excuse me. You have to put in that legal name change by the courts. They can't even get a legal name change because they're thieves. They couldn't even pass. They couldn't even pass to get by the courts. The courts investigate you. They're not going to give you a legal name change because you might be running away from child support. You might be running away from a cold case. You might be running away from a lot of atrocities. You might be one of the ISIS. You might be part of the Taliban. They have to investigate you before they give you a name change because you're running away from something.
So
you
yeah,
understand?
that's what I'm talking about.
That's right. So they don't have because I requested it from their attorneys to put in because they wanted to call them Lena and Lily. I said, you can't use false names in a federal court. You have to have a legal name change to go in there. Otherwise, you're committing perjury and fraud. The courts, federal courts, state courts, city courts, they're all court of law, and you have to abide by the law. So if you put any false documents in there, you are committing perjury, and they can come back and get you and put you in jail on that perjury. And they can put your attorneys in jail because they're your mouthpiece. They're speaking for you, so they're just as one as you. So if you committed a crime, they're not going to show up. If you're lying, they're not going to put no documents in there. They're not going to put no perjury documents in there because they're going to go to jail for you. They're not going to go to jail for you, so they're not going to show up. These people did not show up in none of the court cases. What does that tell you guys? They didn't put in any documents to refute the evidence that I put in on them. I took the copyrights on all the derivative movies and all the derivative stuff that they did because it belongs to me. And all I had to do was go to the Library of Congress and apply for it. That's all anybody has to do. If anyone steals any of your stuff and you got copyrights that came before the movies, copyrights that came before anything, you can take what the thieves have because they cannot get a copyright, they cannot get a trademark, they cannot get a registration of ownership at all. Period. You can take it. All you have to do is take whatever movie they made from your movie and your work and copyright it, and the Library of Congress will give it to you because it will be traced back to your copyrighted work. It is nothing but a derivative, a secondary work that came from a primary or the first source. So I'm telling you right there, something that your lawyers are not going to tell you. Anybody jack your work and make a copy, and you got copyrights and trademarks, all you have to do is apply for that derivative work. And it's not a damn thing the thieves can do about it. If they make up any noise about it, they're going to jail because the work can be traced back to the source, the first copyright. Listen to me carefully because I'm giving you some deep information that no judge and no lawyer is ever going to tell you. Under the penalty of perjury is a badass law. And I guarantee you none of them are going to apply for anything under the penalty of perjury. And the government got it set up to catch all of the thieves and the crooks because they will later on turn around and prosecute them with that. So if anybody lying under oath and apply for something that they don't belong to them, whether it's a house or a car, a driving license, or intellectual property rights, or a trademark or a copyright, the government can turn around and use that to prosecute you. So Andy and Larry Wachowski do not have any copyrights. Google it and find out. They don't own anything. They don't have any scripts. They don't have any books. Can't write at all. You think
you guys go to truthaboutmatrix.com? Absolutely. You guys go to truthaboutmatrix.com, open up another tab, go to truthaboutmatrix.com. If you're listening online, go ahead and start following the revolution. Create a profile on blogtalkradio.com and start following the program right now. Start following the revolution so you get up to date about what we're doing out here in the community when we're off air, because we do a lot of work off air as well. So you guys go ahead and start following the broadcast. I do want to get to all the callers, and again, let me just reiterate: keep it short, one question, and we're going to keep it moving like that because I do want to get to all the callers. A lot of people that are that have their hands up and want to ask a question. So 2873, the Matrix Exposed. You have a question?
Policy enforcement, genetically recorded.
2873.
My bad, my brother. I'm on hold in the queue, and I'm speaking.
Okay. You have a question or comment?
Who is that, me?
You have a question or comment? Yes. Yes.
Hey, look, dig this. Hey, look, dig this, right? I appreciate you, Miss. Dang, I forgot your name because I'm in the store talking. Let me.
It's Sophia Stewart. That's my name, Sophia. I was married before I'm divorced, so it's Sophia.
Miss Sophia. Miss
No,
Sophia.
it ain't no Miss. It ain't no Miss. Miss is for Oprah, who has never been married, never had a baby.
No.
Sophia is my name. I was married before, but I'm divorced. So Sophia is my name. No Miss is a part of it. Sophia. How you doing?
My Highness, with the Matrix and the Terminator, that inspired me to get on my path, which enlightened me and opened up the pathways that I have to the universe. So I appreciate you on that note for you having the inkling of what you're speaking, and it empowered me to do what I need to do. I'm just making a statement. I'm just appreciating you, and you stand on your square with all these genetically retarded or the pilgrims or anything, because you got piece of information that needs to get out and needs to be and understood from everybody, because you are the key to everybody's advancement, if they are advanced or if they're not advanced. You open the doorway to all of it. I'm right now. I'm in the spirits. I'm black melanated supremacy and an honorable admiration, and that's all I wanted to say. And I'm on.
No doubt. That's what's up.
Love y'all.
That's what's up. Well, just hold on the line. Just hold on the line and go ahead and go to truthaboutmatrix.com and get that real Matrix War. Go ahead and get that. I appreciate you. I'm gonna get to all the callers, so let me do this. Okay, I want to make sure I get to all you guys. And remember, tonight, just really briefly, if you have a question or comment, one question or comment, that's what we're doing today. For Sophia Stewart. I do want to make sure I get to all the callers. You guys have been waiting so patiently, and I appreciate you. Go ahead and hit that Cash App up so you can continue to hear work like this. Palmetto Star, that's PALMETTOSTAR, 7988. You're on the line with 2RAW4TV. You have a question or comment about with Sophia Stewart, The Matrix Exposed. 7988. You may be on mute. I'm going to give you a couple more seconds. 7988. All right. All right. 1510. You're on the line with 2RAW4TV. You have a question or comment for Sophia Stewart? 1510.
Do they have a question for me?
A lot of these people, they're on the line and they're pressing one. I don't know if they have their cells on mute or what. I don't know what that is. But I definitely have some questions for you. So
okay.
Now, you have been divinely, that what you are saying and the stuff that you have written is definitely divine. When did you start getting this divine insight that helped you to write this?
Well, I always had insight, spiritual insight. So I guess some people are born with it. So as a kid, I didn't do any high school. I took the New York Regents because I'm a prodigy. Just like you see a little 12-year-old girl, she's going to be working for NASA. She's getting her degree at 12 years old. There's a lot of these prodigies. You read about these prodigies, but I guess you guys don't think about them because they're not common as geniuses. Geniuses are common, but prodigies are rare. Just like I told you, I didn't do any high school. I just skipped that, took the New York Regents, went into college, got the degree and stuff like that, and then began to process and create. So I can see, and my grandmother's full-blooded Cherokee from the Cherokee tribe in Missouri, and my grandfather is full-blooded Portuguese from Portugal. And so I have the gift of sight and a shaman, a visionary, so I can see. And so what that means is that I'm well gifted in many maths. And that's what the universal language is mathematics, cracking the codes. What they try to teach you in school is spell or spellings. The witches and the warlocks, that's what they use is spells or spellings. And that's what you see with Houdini and Chris Angel and Copperfield and David Blaine. You know, all of those are illusionists. And that's what they create here with the news and the media. It's these programs, illusions, and that's the false evidence appearing as real, which is fear. They create these illusions, and man is caught up in these illusions, and they lose their free will because they either are scared out of them, tempted out of their free will, or scared out of their free will, or, you know, just a lot of things that they offer for your free will. And a lot of people sell their free will for nothing, and some of them sell it for a lot. But at the end of the day, your free will is something very valuable. It's your soul.
Absolutely.
Your soul to create.
Some people sell it
your
for
soul to enjoy. That's right. Your soul to love and to create and to enjoy. And without that soul, you got nothing but a cold, empty spot. And wishing you could kill yourself because there's nothing there for you to enjoy, nothing there for you to feel, nothing there for you to experience love and joy, all the senses to enjoy food and drink and whatever is here. Without the soul, you cannot enjoy anything at all, period. It's deep.
You guys go to truthaboutmatrix.com. Go ahead and get the real Matrix 4. Go ahead and get that. It's profound reading. I'm like I was saying earlier, I'm close to finished, and it is mind blowing. So you guys go to truthaboutmatrix.com. Go ahead and get that real Matrix 4. I do want to get to all the callers, and remember to take yourself off mute. If you hear my voice, take yourself off mute, you guys. 3344, you're online with 2RAW4TV, The Matrix Exposed. Do you have a question or comment for Sophia Stewart?
Yes, I want to say give thanks, and I want to give thanks to my little brother who's here with me. Just Miss Sister Stewart, ma'am, it's prophetic.
Yes.
I thanks for everything and everything that you put out there. As a matter of fact, my comment is, I give thanks to the Creator that those silly men or women, whatever they are, they stole your work, but it was all divine.
Well, they didn't steal my work. They stole my money. Listen, they didn't steal my work. No, they stole the money, and that's what you go to court for is damages. That's what damages is, the money. Because if someone steals your DeLorean and the DeLorean is in your name, that's where the copyrights are in your name, the DeLorean, the title of the car is in your name, all they're doing is making $1 million off the DeLorean, and that money belongs to you. And that's what you go to court and file for is that money, that $1 million that they made. You don't go to fight for your car because it's in your name. So how you gonna go get your car when it's in your name? Do you see what I'm saying? It's the money that they stole that you need to go get. And I always have to teach people that. I said, you put in the title to get your money to show the judge you're the owner, and the judge is going to award the money to the owner. You see what I'm saying? But everybody knows before you go to court who owns what. And nobody is fooled. And people know that they're going to lose or win. That's why they settle out sometimes, because they don't want to go to court and get humiliated and lose. So that's why you see a lot of court cases settling, because they know they can't win.
Well,
especially if they committed a criminal act.
They need to give you your money and then more and more and more and more.
Well, no, they're not going to give you. No, listen to me. They're not going to give you anything. A thief is not going to go rob the bank and turn around and give the bank back the money. Criminals don't do that. No, you have to follow the route of justice and go take your money, but also get them processed to go to jail for, because every criminal act that a criminal commits affects everyone. It affects you. It doesn't affect just me, because anytime somebody counterfeit a copyright, your money is lowered. Even the cops that investigate, even the FBI that investigate, their money is affected by any thievery or counterfeiting. So this is why you need to stand up for justice, you and everyone, because not just one person is affected, but everyone is affected by a criminal act.
I noticed in your, Ms. Stewart, good evening. I noticed in the heading of your book that my sister let me check out, you did mention that the wheel of justice turns slow, but it nonetheless turns. So I resonate with that word that you repeated again here.
Yeah, and I did say that in the book, that the wheel of justice turns slow, but you will get justice, because there's two justices that are melted out here. One is called divine justice by God, and the other one is the justice of man. Now, if man doesn't catch what's going on, God definitely will. The divine justice will catch up. And if the divine justice doesn't catch up, man will melt out his justice, his form of justice. But it will not be ignored, because John Gotti died of cancer in prison. Whitey Bulger got taken to prison on the run for 20 or 30 years, and someone killed him as a snitch. Bertie Madoff went in at 65. He got 150 years. He just recently passed away in prison. And Al Capone, as soon as he got out, he died of syphilis. I think he was in for 40 years, and right after he got out, he died of syphilis. So their crimes caught up with all of them. Because that's what it does.
And
sooner or later.
Yes, and the crime towards humanity is catching up with them now, because even, like you said, they stole your money. The vibration that the Creator, God, sent out, now the whole world speaks on this
Well, I
matrix
won the lawsuit. No, I won the lawsuit. I went in and got them. I went in with, of course, the aid of God, with the help of God. I went in and got them and took my money. And I was still trying to get them put in jail so they can stop stealing your money. That's why some men do stuff. I could have taken the money and settled out with them many years ago. They offered me $30 million for the shooting script to The Matrix 4. They offered me $5 and $7 million to the copyrights, which are worth billions of dollars. But I stood up for you guys, so you guys could learn this day, so you could understand this day was for you, because some people have to stand up so others can reap from it.
Ms. Stewart, there's on this subject, there's a famous quote that says, good artists borrow, great artists steal. Well, is that a bunch of, is that just some Western adage that just doesn't?
Wait a minute, what was it saying? Because I didn't understand it saying. You were saying it so fast. What did you say? What was the quote?
They say good artists borrow, great artists steal.
No,
I think
there's
it's
no
kind
such
of
thing as borrowing. Borrowing is just a technical word that people teach out there instead of using the word that God taught you, stealing. There's no such thing as borrowing. When you can't borrow anything. No, you have stolen something. You can't say, I went over to your house and borrowed a cup of sugar. No, you either asked for permission and got that permission, or you didn't. But you didn't borrow anything. You stole if you didn't get any permission. If you didn't see, if you didn't sell something, you stole it. So those little technical words is to kind of absorb your conscience. And they use those words, and the whites and Jews teach those words so they can use these technicalities on you, on your conscience, to make you think nothing happened. But there's no such thing as borrowing. You either paid for it or you asked for it and got the permission, but you didn't go and borrow something. You went over and stole it. That's all there's to it. It's either yay or nay, just like God told you, yes or no. There is no maybe. Maybe means no. Maybe if you ask somebody, if I come up to you right now and I say, can I use your car? And you are going to say either yes or no. But if you say maybe, I mean, that's no. And I go and use your car and say, well, I just went and borrowed your car because you said maybe.
Right.
Do you understand now? You understand now?
Hey, I like how you broke that down, because that makes absolute sense. Because if someone says maybe, and then you go ahead and do it anyway, they're going to be like, hold on. Why you just take that? I just said maybe. That means no. Absolutely.
That means no.
That
means
makes
no.
so much sense.
And because God says there's only yes or no. God says there's only yes or no. There is no maybe. Man created maybe so he can trap you. Because as soon as you go borrow that car and you say, well, I just borrowed the car, the cop's going to say, no, you didn't borrow it and you stole it and you didn't get permission and you're going to jail. You're going to jail on borrowing and you're going to jail on maybe, okay? So get it out of your mind. There's no such thing as borrowing and maybe. It is yay or nay, yes or no.
I like that. You guys go to truthaboutmatrix.com. You guys go to truthaboutmatrix.com right now. Give Stewart her flowers right now. Go ahead and cop that. Matrix 4, the real Matrix 4. Go ahead and do that right now. Open up another tab. Start following the broadcast. blogtalkradio.com/2RAW4TV. Create a profile. Start following the broadcast. And also hit up the Cash App, because we are doing real work out here in the streets. We just had the Rise Rally. And shout out to everybody at the Rise Rally. That was last Saturday. And we just had that. And, getting people out of the matrix of mortgage and rent, because black people are the only ones that collectively are paying to live. Over 70% of the renters are black. So black people are the only ones that are collectively paying to live. And some black people have never been free a day in their life. So we're trying to show people how to become free. So definitely you guys hit up the Cash App, $Palmetto Star, because we're doing real work out here in the streets. I do want to get to all the callers. Remember, keep it brief, one question or one comment, 7988. You're online with 2RAW4TV. The Matrix Exposed. Do you have a question or comment for Sophia Stewart? $7988. All right, going once, going twice. All right. And remember to press 1 if you do have a question or comment. And then when I do hit your number, when I do hit your number, you guys gotta get off mute. You guys gotta get off mute, okay?
Well, I was going to tell you, I'm probably answering a lot of their questions.
Yeah, I know that you are. You may be answering a lot of questions because you are saying it, and because you answered a lot of my questions that I had. Now the Oracle. That's another question that I had, because the Oracle is a very unique character in the Matrix. Is she the creator of the Matrix as well? Is that how you visualize the Oracle?
Listen, I created those characters, those graphics, those special effects, the concept, the red and blue pill, I'll be back, the dialogue. That's why people have to get the book so they can see it with their own eyes. The Oracle is based on myself as a visionary seer, as a real oracle with a gift. I put myself in my work from my character the same way that Stephen King, Stan Lee, Spike Lee, and myself, we got it from Alfred Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock was one of the first creators to put himself in his own work, and we really admired that. And so how great is it to put yourself in your own work?
Right.
So the Oracle, when you were reading the fourth installment, you could hear me speaking, just like you hear me speaking right now. You in real time, you can hear me speaking. You can hear Neo. You can hear Trinity, and Jada Pickett's role. You can hear everyone. Tank. You can hear all of them. It's just like the work comes alive, and it's like a movie. My fans say, "Oh my God, I'm reading Matrix 4 book," and it's just like looking at a movie. It's visual. It's visual, and they're excited because I have fans that have every race, color, creed, nationality around the globe, and they love the Matrix, and they cannot be fooled. They know what it is. I've had a fan, Stanley Lewis, who saw the Matrix 20 times, and had other people to watch it. And this is what I'm talking about, how the work is layered. So every time you see it, you're going to see something different. You're going to find something new. Every time you read the books, I've written 4 books on Matrix and Terminator, 4 books. When you go to truthaboutmatrix.com or matrixterminator.com, if that's easy for you to remember, matrixterminator.com, www.matrixterminator.com. Go there and look at the 4 books on the Matrix and Terminator and get the books. I have ebooks for those who read ebooks. But you got to read the book. If you've seen the movies, you'll understand the movie even greater if you read the book, because the book came before the movie. The movies didn't come before the book. The book came before the movies, and that's where the movies come from. All these great books, these movies are nothing but derivatives. They're nothing but filming. Just like you go take your camera right now and go out and start filming. You didn't create anything. You just filmed what was already created by someone who created the source work, and that's what the books are, the source work, where everything comes from. You'll see the logo there. You'll see the graphics there. You'll see the special effects. You'll see the red and blue peel. You'll see I'll Be Back. You'll see all of that right in the book, The Matrix. You'll see all of that. The quotes from the scriptures. It's a science fiction story. And this is, and a lot of people know, because when you see the Maze movie, the Maze book, the Gravity book, the Gravity movie, Lord of the Rings, J.R.R. Tolkien's book, the Hobbit book, J.R.R. Tolkien's book, the Hobbit movie. All of these great movies come from books. The books came first, not the movie. The movie didn't come first. That's the only thing that you might know about. Because there are people who know about the books and they read the books and then go see the movies, and there are people who see the movies and find out later on there's books. It came from this book. But you won't make the connections until you read the book. You might not even understand the work until you read the book. Because just like I told you, the movie is only a snippet out of a book. A book may be 236 pages. It may be 400 pages. A movie is only 1 hour and 36 minutes. No more than 2 hours and 15 or 20 minutes. That's it. That is just a snippet out of a book. That's why you keep seeing sequels. That's why you keep seeing 4 and 5 movies or 3 movies, because the book just has all of this information that can continue the work.
You guys go. And
the new books.
You guys go ahead. It's the 1111 Gateway, y'all. And let me say this: I have a huge announcement. You guys, we are revealing Turtle Island Security. Turtle Island Security is happening right now. We are available for community events, private parties, and art shows. That is the new security company that 2RAW4TV we are having, and we are announcing that today. We've been doing different private events and art shows, just word of mouth. But today we are revealing Turtle Island Security. So you guys, if you do have any security issues, you need that for your art show, your community event, or your private party, you can go and call and request that at 770-284-4209. That's 770-284-4209, Turtle Island Security. We will get you secured, and that's what I want to announce. Big announcement, because that's part of 2RAW4TV. We are also, if you are interested in security, call that number as well, because we are helping people get out there with their security needs and all of that. But I appreciate you, Sophia Stewart. Like I said, you have changed my life. You have changed the culture. You have definitely had an impact on everything that's happening right now, whether it be from Facebook, the metaverse, or whether it be anything that's happening right now. The Matrix has made an impression on that. And I appreciate you and the value that you have brought to the culture and to the community. Where can people find you at online and find your material and get some more books and support you?
Yeah, well, you guys can go to, like I said, matrixterminator.com. Might be easy for some. Matrix Terminator. They're one word, matrixterminator.com, and pull up my website, or truthaboutmatrix.com. And believe me, there's 4 books on Matrix and Terminator. Get the Matrix 4 book. It's the 4th installment, and it's a continuation of the work. My work won 4 Oscars. I was at the Oscars 2020. You can see all the stuff on my website. I've done over 4,000 media interviews, radio, TV, newspaper, podcast, everything you can think of. Speaking engagements I've done with the late Dick Gregory. I've spoken with him, Phil Valentine, Jewel Pookrum. I've been out for a long time in the media, from 78 with Roots. In the 80s with Muhammad Ali. I was engaged to marry him, and I was also with Anthony Davis, that running back, famous running back, USC. That's why I was at USC. I have a degree in journalism, a double major in law and psychology. I studied to be a lawyer and a doctor. So, yes, you need to go on my website and look at the docs, and do not let anybody fool you. Unplug yourself from the ignorance and the lies. And don't let anybody tell you anything. That's right. Research the truth. Because the Internet is just a whole bunch of trolls and liars on there. I won the court case 7 years ago. 7 years ago, and the media have been keeping it from me because the whites and the Jews own all the media. Start owning your own media so you can wake up many people. You can do this. There's 7 billion people out there. 3/4 of the earth is black. There is no such thing as racist, because the word race is racist. Remember that. The word race is racist. That's what it means, racist. You being a racist. Because there are no races. There are just tribes. And everybody in those tribes have different skin colors. Your skin doesn't determine who you are. Your blood, DNA, determines who you are. Remember that. Your blood, DNA, determines who you are, not a skin cover. Don't let a skin cover fool you. And God says if you're about truth, that's who your people are. If you're about lies, then you go with the liars. Those are your people. But all these races and skin colors, they're not your people. If you're into the truth, that's who your people are. If you're into lies, that's who you follow, okay? Either you're following the truth here or you're following a lie. There's nothing else going on here but distractions, labels, ignorance, and a bunch of buffoonery. sorry, I have to tell you the truth.
And you are saying nothing
to keep you from finding the truth. Yeah, a lot of distractions to keep people from finding out the truth. They need to know this. They need to unplug. They need to unplug from the programs and the ignorance and the lies and start digging for the truth. Because the truth is going to set them free and set them to doing what they need to do. And start creating and giving something out there, something to come back to you. Start building and creating. You don't like something,
Absolutely.
change it. You don't like something, change it.
I feel that definitely. And I appreciate you so greatly. You guys go ahead, truthaboutmatrix.com. Go ahead and get the Matrix 4. Sophia Stewart has changed the culture in real time. Do you know how impactful that is? Because a lot of artists, a lot of creators, they do change the world, but it's posthumously. It's after they have died. But she is still here. She is still here. So give her flowers while she is still here, and go ahead and get the Matrix 4. And I'm going to tell you the best way to read it, because this is the way I've been reading it. Read it out loud. Read it out loud. This is one of those pieces that you want to hear it. So read it out loud, because that's how you're going to get all of the nuances and everything that's happening in the book. And I appreciate you so much, Sophia. Thank you for being part of this broadcast and being part of the movement. And your work is so great, and I look forward to seeing more of your work in the future. Do you have anything else that you want to impart on the people?
No, I just want to say thank you, guys. I know I answered a lot of your questions, so that's why I wasn't getting all the feedback. I want to thank you very much for having me on the show tonight. I mean, I think this was a phenomenal interview, and I just hope that people, word of mouth, would spread the news and pass it on to many others. And I'm going to say good night, but get more Matrix, especially Matrix 4, and you'll see that those 17 or 20 trailers that's on YouTube is nothing but a bunch of garbage. Get it and see for your own self, so no one can ever fool you ever again. And good night, everyone, and thank you.
No doubt. You guys, go ahead, truthaboutmatrix.com, get Matrix 4, the real Matrix 4, and read it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to play this track from Live It Up. And also, let me say this. If you're listening online, go ahead and create a profile, start following The Revolution. I appreciate you guys. I'll play this track. I love this track. I haven't played it in a minute, but I'm going to play this track. It's called New Nation. It's by Live It Up Ant. And I just want everybody to spread the message, awaken others, and win the revolution within. It's 2RAW4TV.
Respect my legacy. Live it up, nation. Salute to the gods.
Nico bunking in the trap, yeah.
Right now is the time you need to face it. We don't got no options now. It's time to get rockin'. Now we make significant moves and now they wait. Circumstances come around, but we still gon' hold it down. I'm repelling from folks who stay complacent. Ain't no hard feelings. I'm giving them all sentences about how they can hop about that base. It's different when you get serious about your creation. I'm in the galaxy shooting down UFOs. Cause if the rest don't reach the earth, well, who knows? I come from serious on a serious note. Hope you hearing this dope. Let me clear up my throat. Gotta drop 'em a quote. Let my people go. If not, we tying the ropes. Hanging them by their throats. I don't care if you rich, homie. I don't care if you broke. They said we came here on boats. I hope you know that's a joke. We were steady trying to reach for the stars, but it was already near. Don't wanna tell you the truth, that we was already here. So right now is the time you need to face it. It's our time to take over, build a new nation. Niggas is not taking this shit in what's right here for the king. I'm coming to you in peace, come join the nation. It's time to vibe at the block, that's why I'm rocking with y'all. You know, Sizzle, we've been down since we was babies. Can't forget all my bros, that's why we gotta go. Can't you see it's our turn to rewrite this history in time? Gotta switch up this narrative, it's so much you can find. I called a petty little case and had to do 15 little days. Even that shit was too much, I'm about to intense the blaze. That's why my days are magnified like always. Baby girl like the sage, take you to another place. I'm a freedom fighter, high up when I'm walking out of that cage. We better off on the stage, but you don't wanna see me in a rage. Recognize what it is, oh, this is bigger than you can fathom. Promise you this ain't random, though, this might have to be the new anthem. Had to drop you a speech, it's time to reclaim the throne. But I ain't tripping if you ain't ready, though, man, I do the shit on my own, man, I do the shit on my own.
You gotta understand that the black man is God. We're speculating in America because you niggas is in a zoo. Okay. It took me moving by the Bronx Zoo to understand that this shit is a fucking zoo. The reason why it's a zoo is because they domesticated God on this planet. You understand? We came here as God and niggas was living it up. But then something came and something has come and it has domesticated God, meaning that you were to function in this society, but you can't be in your God self. That's why we're called failure. That's why niggas turn they, you know what I mean? That's why we look the way that we do, because we like, no, we want to be God or nothing, bitch. What is you talking about? And our version of God means that you niggas can't be God. How about that?
Support independent black media right now via Cash App, $, Palmetto Star. The revolution will not be televised. 2RAW4TV.